Hi, it's Carrie Kenner, and welcome to the weekly vlog. So, I have been wanting to write and talk about why people make the decisions that they do. And this week in my email, I got a newsletter from this one neuroscientist that I follow. And the title of her email was, Why Do Smart People Make Dumb Decisions? And it was really inspiring. And it was like, okay, I want to talk about this. So decision making is this actually, really in complicated brain process that we have. We do it all the time. We do it daily. We make decisions about what we're going to eat for breakfast and what things we're going to click on or not and what we're going to invest our money in. So teeny decisions, big decisions. But the process of decision making is looking at all the options, deciding what we think is going to be best for us, and likely taking action. Now, we believe that this process is very rational. It feels rational, it kind of looks rational, and we have a lot of misunderstandings about how we actually make decisions. And science has been looking into the real things that are happening in our brains and in our bodies that factor into decision making. So let's take a look at a couple of those things. There are dozens of mental models that we use to get through our lives. And these models have things to do with how we remember things and how we react with people and how we learn things. And there are specific decision making models as well. And what these things look like is that we are using the rational parts of our mind to collect information, sort through them, analyze them, and make reasonable and logical choices. In fact, if you asked people, if you told them, so your left brain has to do with rational, logical thinking, and your right brain has to do with emotions and creativity, which side of your brain do you think is involved in decision making? And the loud chorus would be left brain, left brain. But that's not actually how it works. The decision making process in the brain is actually a front to back process, and it involves all these parts of the brain that have to do with emotions. Now, a lot of the research that's been done on decision making has been in the realm of dieting. For me, I was always interested in decision making as it related to birth. I was fascinated by why did people make the decisions that they did and then find those decisions change and fly out the door in the middle of labor. Now, part of that could be labor is hard and people don't know how hard it's going to be. It's really one of the extraordinary times in life where you don't know what to expect, even if you've done it before. Kind of like figuring out how you're going to make your car fly across the Grand Canyon when you haven't even operated a vehicle before. So it's definitely an area of entering the unknown, and people would make the best choices that they could ahead of time. But what I also saw is that for years, I watched childbirth educators teaching in a way that just didn't make any sense based on what I knew about decision making. The model that most childbirth educators use is one that's based on getting people lots of information. And that might be in the form of evidence based facts, current trends, data, and that doesn't work at all. I learned from Pam England, the author of Birthing from Within, a completely different process. The process that I used involved excavating people's first birth stories, helping people to evaluate and assess their current beliefs and values around a birth, and then bringing those things together and helping them integrate some bits of information and data, but making decisions that were based on what they knew was their emotional self and knowing how those things could be influenced going into the birth process. They may not have made any different or better decisions, but they at least knew what to expect. And I would share with them a model and we would role play it so they'd have a clue of what it would be like in labor and how they could make their decision making process more successful. So, what research has shown us is that the parts of the brain involved in decision making are the parts of the brain that have to do with emotional processing, including anxiety and avoidance, memory, gratification seeking, the parts of the brain that alert us to danger, how to evaluate risks and rewards and apply them to the future, empathy and impulse control, and reward choice and bias, and things like self-perception and social cognition. These are all the factors that go into our choices. And perhaps as you were listening to that list of parts of the brain that do what and why would they be involved in decision making, the thing is that we care about our perception of ourselves and how others think of us. We think about if the decision is going to make us more anxious or avoid conflict. We think about if our decisions are going to give us great rewards or not. We're just not conscious of the fact. But if you stop and think about it, yeah, we want all those things to feel good for us based on what we decide to do. And that is not data driven at all. The thing is that decision making is such a big part of our life. And it's so important to many of the things that will make our days okay or our lives successful. Why isn't this taught in school? Why aren't we taught how to make good decisions, especially in school? Because teenagers haven't developed the frontal part of their brain yet. Remember, I said this is a front to back process. It involves major parts of the frontal part of our brains. And in kids, they're not even halfway connected yet. So it would be especially valuable, I would think, to teenagers and people younger than that to understand how decisions are made. Let them know you can't make good decisions now. No surprise to some of the parents that are listening, I'm sure. But here's the things that you can know how to do so that you create better opportunities for yourself to do the right things. So in last week's vlog, I talked about neuroplasticity, that ability of the brain to rewire itself so that the different beliefs and values and behaviors that one have can actually be changed. They can change over time. We can change meaning. We can change kind of our automatic behaviors. We can change our intentional behaviors based on changing meanings from things from our past. And neuroplasticity works with decisions as well. So if you can imagine that, some of the things I talked about that go into decision making, which is our values and our ideas and our beliefs, if those things shift, then we can start to make different decisions as well. So after periods of transition, deep reflection, personal development, people often show up making new decisions, different types of decisions in their lives. And this can factor in a lot to this time of year that we're in, where people start to make a lot of New Year's resolutions. They do goal setting for the new year. And the usual process of doing this is quite narrow focused. People think about, what do I want? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to do? They set some ideas for how to do that. They post some stickies on the bathroom mirror and they are good to go. Maybe they throw in some mantras and self-affirmations to seal the deal. I have a process that I use for my goal setting that involves deep reflection, future visioning, like envisioning one's funeral, like about as far as you can envision in your own life, and considering our style of decision making. This version of goal setting ends up with some really rich ideas for 1 year, 5 year, and 10-year goals. It's something I do in my Jumpstart Your Doula Career program. I'm thinking of doing a workshop about this around the new year. So if you're interested, you can contact me with the links that are on this channel. Well, hopefully this has given you some things to think about in terms of how you make decisions and providing some more insights into what's going on under the surface that is not what you expected around the process of deciding what to do. Next week, I'm going to share 2 models of decision making, the factors that influence decision making, and how our plans can get derailed by the "oh, fuck it" phenomenon. So come back next week. Hope you enjoyed today. Bye.